We were in the underground then, and we still are.
Loud and proud!
You get out in the pit, really like mix it up. The kids are just trying to have fun.
I guess it could be summed up in chaos. I think it's pretty obvious what kind of music we're going to create, somewhere between the Beatles and the Apocalypse.
Get your balls vibrating. Come to the show, have a few beers, try and get laid, get in the pit.
It's funny how fuck you can be absolutely understood by everybody internationally.
I know you got it, I want to see them. We don't care what they say, do we?
Well, we have had a few lineup changes in Overkill's history.
I think with every lineup in Overkill, there's been positive and negative aspects of it.
I have, each different lineup I have a different feeling about. Everybody that's been in the band so far has contributed in one way or another to the records, to how the band was.
I think the changes in Overkill have actually helped the band, because if we remained as we were, I truly believe we would not be. So it's actually helped the band in as much to evolve, and I think that change in general has taught me to not be afraid of it, but maybe more so to accept it.
Change isn't necessarily the worst thing. I mean, we've learned to run with the ball, and we've grown as a band because of the changes. When it's time for somebody to move on for whatever reason, me and Blitz kind of built this house, and one way or another, we'll get other people who want to be involved and contribute in a new way.
I think when it comes to Overkill, there's one rule with Overkill, and that's that you have to want to be here. I think this is the only rule we've ever had. Each individual member who has been in Overkill, and then left Overkill, have done so of their own accord. Merritt Gant, for instance, was a personal decision. Merritt was getting married, wanted to start a family, in the family business. Way back to Rat Skates, same reason. Sebastian also, to start a family, to not be on the road. Road's a special place. I don't think everybody can be there and necessarily be married and start that family. Cannavino wanted to race motorcycles. Sid Falk was disillusioned with the band, wanted to leave it. But they didn't want to be here. They wanted to be somewhere else. And I think the important thing is that they have to want to be here. Different memories, different times I have of all of them.
You falling down last night, Merritt?
What?
You falling down last night, sloppy, drunk?
Here's Merritt real quick. I go, these guys are going to bed. I go, well, let's go, Merritt. And Merritt goes,
Rat being in the band back in the early days too, we grew up together. I saw him every day of my life from the time I was 15 till the time I was 25.
We're gonna let Rat Skates start this song!
There was only one person asked to leave the band. That was Bobby Gustafson back in 1990.
Our original guitar player, Bobby, looking back on that now, we had some good times. It got a little heavy there for a while, and that's why the split had to come.
Bobby and Dee Dee were the chief songwriters in this band at that time, handling the musical end of things. The idea guys, you might say. This is where everything originated from these two as far as the music went. I got married in 1990, and these guys came to the wedding and they said, man, everything was going great. This is fantastic. When you get back from your honeymoon, it's going to be going to have plenty of stuff to finish off. Well, I got back about two and a half, 3 weeks later, and these guys were at each other's throats. I can't go into a room with this guy, and I'm going to kill this one.
Yeah, I guess we left on bad terms. Yeah, I guess we definitely left on bad terms. But what had happened was things had deteriorated to the point where I was spending all of my time deflecting stuff. You know, the crew coming to me saying, I've had it, you know, and management coming to me and I've had it. Guys in the band, I've had it. Bobby, you know, we were young and la la la. But for me, I was spending a lot of my time deflecting and trying to hold things together instead of writing songs and being creative, which is really what I wanted to do. And looking back on it, I would have maybe told Bobby more. You know, I'm sick of this shit. I don't want to do this. I didn't really do that. I kind of kept it inside. Time went past until one time I eventually got to the point where I said, I've had it. I can't do this anymore, which I think probably came as somewhat as a surprise to Bobby.
You know, the cool thing about this band is that it always was a democracy. It's not, it was never Bobby's right, for instance, to take Overkill. It was never Dee Dee's right to take Overkill. So we all got down to talking about it, and they really put it in my lap and kind of made me the head cutter, you might say. And I decided to stay with Dee Dee, and this was based on Dee Dee and I actually beginning this band before Bobby even came into the picture. Dee Dee and I met back in 1981 through an ad in a newspaper. So Dee Dee and I had a friendship that was a longer-lasting friendship, and I think that with that longer-lasting friendship came a greater amount of trust. Each of them wanted to take the band in a different direction, and I always had a great trust for Dee Dee, even though I did have trust and respect for Bobby Gustafson. I can't say that Bobby had little to do with this band. He had a lot to do with this band and getting it on the map. But Dee Dee thought more along the lines that I did, and the decision was really quite easy for me. Trust.
It wound up working out okay for the band. I mean, he moved on and he had his life, and you know, meanwhile, Overkill's still around 15 years later. So I guess we survived. Blitz has spoken to him from time to time, but I mean, I certainly don't hold any bad feelings towards the guy. People ask me from time to time, I said, I haven't seen the guy in 10 years. How am I going to hold a harsh feeling against someone I haven't seen in 10 years? Maybe he holds a grudge against me. I don't know. The other guys in the band, I hear from all the time. Sid will send me Christmas cards, and I talk to Rob and Merritt.
Catamino! Guitar!
Okay, they're pissing in our dressing room. Stop it! Thanks, Splash.
And Sebastian, we hear from time to time, but now I guess Joe, too. Joe Como's not in Overkill anymore. Really what it came down to was he had an opportunity to join another band.
Joe left the band for, I would assume, opportunity. Joe is cut from the singer mold. Cut from that mold of being a singer. Joe got the opportunity to sing with Annihilator and cut a record and do a little bit of writing, and this is something that he's always wanted to do.
He wanted to kind of split his time between the two bands, which is, you know, really what he wanted to do, but that wasn't going to work for us. A side project just for fun, you know, shits and grins is one thing, but to really commit to another band too, we just felt it was going to wind up taking away from what we're doing. And so he had to make a decision, and I guess the opportunity was too good for him, so we had to jump ship. And he's going to be involved with that now, and good luck to him. It's no harsh terms. He certainly didn't leave us hanging. You know, we talked it out, and I'm sure I'll see Joe at barbecues or, you know, probably even do shows with him at some point, sooner or later.
I'll tell you, to be honest with you, losing Joe is a big bummer. Joe and I I was probably the tightest ever with Joe, and it sucks big time. But Dave and I get along great.
As far as the lineup goes today, one of the best aspects of it is the newest member, Dave Lintz.
When Sebastian left the band, he left on the Necroshine tour, which I basically played that tour. We did Europe and the States a couple times. You know, we kind of buzzed around, and they were releasing a record called Overkill. And Overkill was all the lineups of the band, right from the beginning to the end. And they had some stuff that I was able to get in there and play some solos and just kind of really go into the studio. Here's the track, play. It was one of those kind of deals. It was great to get on the record and get some stuff going. But yeah, the new record will be the first record that we're going soup to nuts, so to speak, with the whole thing. And I'm looking real forward to that. Getting some of my own stuff out.
Dave has brought something special to this band. We've never had a guitar player like Dave in this band. He has a little bit extra. He can do anything that we've done in the past. And what I'm finding out by working with him in the studio, by working with him on stage, that the changes that he makes to certain things are always from a positive aspect of change. He has that little extra that nobody else in this band had.
The lineup that we have right now, that we're doing this record with, that we're really happy with. I keep talking about the new lineup too. Tim's been with us for like 8 records or something. I still think of him as a new guy sometimes. He's been around forever.
Well, I knew the guys back on a Taking Over tour. I actually worked with them. That's how I met the guys, and they knew I was a drummer back then. It wasn't until the tour of Horoscope that I joined. Dee Dee gave me a call. I was living in LA at the time, and Dee Dee called me, and I was working. I worked with Rob, the old guitar player, Rob Canavino, in the band before, and basically that's how we hooked up. He gave me a call, sent me all the songs. I learned them, rehearsed them, and the first show was Hawaii, which was heaven. Been here ever since.
So I suppose me, Blitz, and Tim actually have been kind of the nucleus to Overkill for a long time. And as guitar players weave in and out, we'll just go with the flow.
As far as everyone getting along in the band, this is probably the most important aspect of a band to me. I think that people have to like each other to play together, and I think that if they don't like each other, this translates to an audience, that this band or this group of individuals are actually not a band if they don't like each other. So I've always thought it to be very, very important, more so than actual talent, individual talent, to work together as a unit. And if we can work together as a unit, we're probably going to like each other, and vice versa.
I've been involved with some different things and people, and I think that this particular band itself, one of the things that actually is a real great thing is that everybody's a great human being. In other words, just people. Forget the music, forget everything else. The people in general are just really good people. And that's really tough to find. Usually you got somebody with this hard chip on his shoulder, or there's always some kind of friction or whatever. Nobody's like that. Everybody jokes around and have no problem hanging out aside from the music, which is, to me, a great thing.
So getting along is very important. We do get along very well. But I can't really negate change from this whole equation, because change has really been the only constant in my life personally and within Overkill.
back in the early days of Overkill, before we even got signed and stuff, yeah, we used to have kind of our whole vibe was we wanted to do this horror show kind of thing.
So we used the white face and the black eyes and everything. We were really after this dead kind of a vibe.
We, had skulls and candelabras on stage and spider webs all over the place, and Blitz had this big cape, and we had this like 8-foot drum riser with the big fence gates that opened up, and Blitz would come roaring out. We'd come running from the side, and it was fun. We had a lot of fun doing that, and then little by little we kind of merged out of that. And I see a lot of the bands, a lot of the black metal bands, you see those guys now. It's a different kind of vibe, though. They may be doing the kind of... Ours was more like the horror show kind of thing. We wanted to look like dead people, zombies, more like that vibe, instead of like a lot of the black metal stuff is, hatred and, so heavy. And it's like, some of it is, give me a break with that stuff.
Naturally, we didn't think it up. Kiss preceded us. Bands like the Misfits preceded us. And you see a lot of it today. You see bands using this clown white. I think it's called corpse paint today. It'll always be clown white to me.
I like extreme anything. So, if people are taking it to that degree, I'll get a kick out of it one way or another, whatever it may be, whether it be extreme like a black metal band would go, or even if it's extreme, poppy, like, I used to really like Twisted Sister and that kind of stuff. Just as long as you take it to a certain level, I'll get a kick out of it. But with the makeup stuff, we just kind of grew away from it. I don't think we were any kind of trendsetters with it or anything like that.
When it comes to Overkill and touring, I've always considered this our best visibility. Being a fan of music, and especially metal, there's nothing like seeing a band as opposed to just hearing a band.
How many shows have we done?
Many shows. We counted backwards. I guess it was about a year and a half ago, and we came up with about 2,000. Actually, did our 2,000th live performance locally in the club in New Jersey, the Birch Hill. Had a huge celebration with a couple of thousand people. It was really cool. But that was our 2,000th show. I mean, this is a lot of shows over these. I guess then it was probably 15 years.
That's a lot of shows. My God, that's a lot of shows.
It means I've sung songs like "She's Rotten to the Core" like 2,000 times or something. I mean, this is absolutely outrageous.
Rotten to the core!
But you know, the thing is, for me, it's still exciting. It is what it was back then when it becomes to that level of excitement, because you know, night after night that you actually get the opportunity to stand on a stage, you take your life into your own hands, or at least have the feeling of taking your life into your own hands. Becomes instantaneous gratification or instantaneous non-gratification. And it's a crapshoot night after night. You know, most of the times we win, which is kind of nice.
As far as being on stage and playing for the kids and stuff, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter what age you get to or how long you've been doing it. You know, you're 18 when you're on stage. It's just how it is. You know, everybody's going nuts, and people are screaming and yelling and raging, and it doesn't matter. You're tired, you feel like crap, or you're feeling great. Whatever it is, you get up on stage, it's always the same. You're 18 going through the roof again.
Yeah, there has been some blood at our shows, but for us, that's not what it's all about.
Kids are, you know, they get out in the pit, really like to mix it up.
What it's all about is getting together with the people who want to get together under these circumstances, where the movement, the vibe, the music, the noise, everything is accepted in this environment under these circumstances. I think it all gives us a kind of a chance to kick out our jams, you might say. And really, it's about watching out for other people. This is really what it's about. I mean, if you don't watch out for the people who are very much like you and very much like what you like, then there's nobody to look out for you either.
The kids are just trying to have fun. Even through the years, at a lot of our shows, we'd have security people who were, you know, it's just like, leave the kids alone. You know, don't hurt them. My God, they're just trying to have fun. Smashing kids in the head, throwing people around. Just let us duck our heads and get out of the way. And pretty much you have to keep your wits about you when they're all over the stage, because it can easily, you know, teeth. Everybody's gotten hit in the face and fat lips, and you know, I think Blitz even had a tooth kicked out one time.
Yeah, I've been hurt at a few shows. Lost some teeth, knocked out at one of them, knocked over. Actually got into a fight with a security guard on stage. That was memorable. I actually made the newspaper. It said, "Overkill singer takes security into his own hands," and there was actually a picture of this melee. Sid Falk broke a leg at a show in Omaha, or busted a knee. But you know, if you think about it, if we've done actually 2,000 shows, this damage is quite minimal. I mean, I think you do more damage to your car over 2,000 miles than the 2,000 shows that we've done.
Show in Philly where it was raining, huh? That was a while ago too. Actually, you know, Biohazard opened for us on that show.
That's a biohazard. That's an overkill.
Kind of fun. That was before they even got signed.
Philadelphia was there was a memorable show. We got about 3 songs deep, and somebody set the fire alarms off and the sprinklers.
We're rolling along, and I don't know, the middle of the second song, we ended. I had no idea what was going on. Emergency lights came on, the rain is pouring down, the bells are going off, all the emergency lights are on.
By the time the band had stopped, I think it fried the PA, I think it fried the lighting board, it bathed everybody in the audience.
Kids are sliding from the balcony down into the thing, and there's water fights going on, and kids had fun anyway. We had to come back and do the show another day.
It was actually a pretty cool situation. Quite a memorable show. Cops, firemen, all sorts of things.
That was actually the second time that happened on our tour. We were in Rhode Island like 2 nights before, 2 nights after, and the ceiling caved in and it was raining on stage and we had to cancel the show too.
Fire and us seem to be synonymous together. Our first record was Feel the Fire. And just recently on one of our last European tours, we went through the Baltic states, and it wasn't our first time there. This was our second time. We'd actually toured Estonia first, but it was our first time in Lithuania.
We were playing this place in Lithuania. It must have been like a city hall or something like that.
We were in our 6th song during a set. Not even halfway done. Not even close to halfway done, I guess.
We're actually playing the song Feel the Fire, and one of the security guards comes running up to me on the side of the stage when I'm getting a glass of water and starts saying something about a fire and pointing and this and that, and I thought he was complimenting us, and I said, well, thank you very much. It's going very hot fire. And I thought he was talking about the band, and he actually wasn't. He pointed out into the audience, and there was a smoke billowing into the venue from another room off the side.
Blitz comes up whispering something in my ear, and I thought he was joking, you know. He's a jokester, and I just kept playing. And finally he yells, "Tim, I'm serious!" I didn't even know it was on fire, to be honest with you. I'm so used to playing in fog and stuff anyways. I didn't realize it was a real deal happening.
We're playing, we're doing our thing. Blitz is off stage. Tim stops playing, and I'm playing. And I look back, and I see him walking off, and I said, oh, shit, Tim is pissed. Either got hit with a bottle, or somebody threw something, and he said, fuck this, I'm out of here. He's storming off. And I'm still playing for some reason. Go over to the side of the stage, and people are yelling, stop. And why? The place is on fire.
And Dee Dee takes off his bass, and the playing goes on. And he's yelling at me, and I said, what? And strange enough, the building's on fire, get the hell out of here.
What had happened was 2 guys had torched one of the rooms off the main room of the venue.
We just all went to the dressing room, grabbed our stuff, and ran out, and we all actually helped the crew get everything out of the building.
I think the first 2 things I grabbed was my guitars. I had 2 guitars over me and the one I was playing, and right out the back door, standing in the snow, our merch girl is out front. The hell knows what was happening with her. We're like yelling, go out front, because the people are smashing windows, and there's a riot out at the front of the building because of the fire.
And then the band and the crowd stood on the sidewalks watching the mother burn. It went right down. Well, half the building was down to the ground, so it was quite a unique and interesting experience. Fire follows you. I think it's time to burn! We had the opportunity last year to tour Turkey, and that was rocking.
Turkey was really cool, actually. That was a fun place to play. We played. We only did 2 shows, but it was like, you know, we landed at the airport. There's kids at the airport, and there's, you know, people following the bands everywhere we go.
Our first time ever in Turkey, it made us feel like the Beatles. Getting off the plane in Ankara, it was just, I don't know, hundreds of fans, and that was just exciting.
Production-wise, it was a nightmare, but the kids were so enthusiastic that, you know, it didn't even make any difference. We were plugged into, my God, I was plugged into a combo amp. I was bigger than my amp. I mean, and that hasn't happened since like 1970, I think. But the kids were nuts. They just wanted to hear us play. They were completely over the top. They packed those kids in. They lost their minds.
I remember one of the things about Turkey was that it was really out of control in terms of enthusiasm, almost bordering on violence. I remember seeing cars crashing into the sides of buildings. I guess it could be summed up in chaos. But the memories I have from these little hostile moments of violence, I think, are going to stay with me for many, many years. First time I was actually in the East was in Poland, in Eastern Europe.
We were actually the first American metal band, I think, to go to Poland. Because when we went to Poland, it was still communist. And you had to be invited to come.
And we were actually invited there by the Polish government. It was 1987, and we were touring with 2 German bands, Running Wild and Halloween. Dee Dee and Bobby were walking through a train station taking pictures, and they were arrested for espionage.
And it was our first time to Poland. We wanted to go see the sights. So me, Bobby, I think one of the guys in Halloween, actually, and a photographer went out kind of tooling around Poland, just horsing around, having fun. But we were taking pictures, obviously. We're tourists in this country. And at the train station, apparently there must have been a military base behind the train station where we were taking pictures. And, you know, it looked like we were taking pictures of this military base, some such thing. The cops grabbed us. And we're sitting there in a cell, you know, a little cell, a cell just like you would think you would see in Poland. Bars on it that are all, you know, falling apart, and it's just miserable, expecting to see rats in there. And we're just sitting there saying, this is not good. You know, the first time here, we're sitting in a cell. We don't have our passports. We don't know what hotel we're staying at. We don't even know the name of the gig that or the place we're supposed to be playing. We're stuck in there going, how the hell are we going to get out of here? And the photographer that was with us at the time actually there's no cell phones, no beepers. This is, 15 years ago. And she somehow got us out of this. She either had a hotel number or had a number for somebody, and the U.S. consulate came down and got us out of there.
The same night that they were arrested, I was drinking my fill in one of the local Polish establishments. I think it's a bar and grill, Polish bar and grill. Shooting my mouth off and like such, and actually got roughed up by the military when I was leaving, thrown over a jeep. Quite a memorable experience for me. First time in a communist nation, and I found out that fuck you is understood internationally.
This is just recently was the first time we went to Russia. We'd never been to Russia before. And we just went, actually only did one show, but it made me feel like, back in 1986 going on your first tour. It was like those old days. Those people over there are so hungry. They're not used to bands coming over there, and they're so appreciative that you're going to come over and you're going to do the right thing and you're going to play the show. We stayed right on Red Square, looking right out our window.
While we were roaming around Red Square in Russia, Moscow, there was a drunk that took on to Dave.
This guy was just a piece of work. It was probably 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. We'd have a couple beers, whatever, take a walk, checking out the Red Square.
He kept on trying to sing, America, America for me.
America, America, United States for me.
Wow.
America, America,
America the Beautiful.
America for me.
Go get him.
Didn't know the words. I don't either, but he was really bad.
It wasn't what I expected, but it was great. It was great. Russia was a lot of fun.
Well, touring has always been, as I've said previously in this interview, has always been kind of the catalyst for me. And especially getting to go to foreign countries, like going to Europe, going to Eastern Europe, or going to Japan. It's twice the rush when you get to go that far and bring what you've done along with you.
Where are we today? Offenbach.
Wohnt ihr mehr?
What?
It's my new German. That's my encore German. Do you want more?
We've been going back and forth now between Europe and America for 12 records. I don't think we've ever missed a tour of Europe or America on a record. A lot of bands will skip a record here and there, but we never have. And we'll keep it that way. We like going to Europe and doing shows, and here.
Right now, at this moment, currently working on our 11th studio record.
Right now, it's shaping up pretty brutal, which is a good thing.
It's going to be more thrashier than in the past ones, I think. And we're concentrating on an amazing sound this time with guitars.
It's heavy. It's definitely heavy. It's got some shades of old school kind of things. It's a little bit faster, I'd have to think. And I think it's It's got a little bit more guitar than some of the previous records. We're into the mix stages right now.
The process of making an Overkill record, it has changed dramatically over the years. We do it in less time now than we used to. It used to be a 6-week, 8-week ordeal. We hated being in the studio. Studio was just an excuse or something that was we had to do so we could get on the road again. I mean, we just wanted to keep playing shows, and eventually the life of the record would die, and they'd say, you can't keep doing shows unless you do an album. All right, I guess we're going to have to write songs.
The way we write songs is, it always starts with the riff. It's all about the riff. It all revolves around the riff. If Dee Dee starts with the riff, and then it starts becoming or growing into this song, the other guys start getting involved at this point, start turning that riff into a song with Dee Dee. I start getting involved. It's about action, reaction. How does this make you feel? How does the riff make you feel? How does the song make you feel? As they progress with this, they demo it along the way and give me tapes, so I have this song in its ever-changing form. I take it from that point and I start turning it into the finished song by adding the melodies to it, adding the lyrics to it. I start demoing stuff on my end, sending it back and forth to Dee Dee, to Dave. Tim starts listening to it. Everybody starts getting involved on one level.
Is that good for you? Yeah, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
Right? It's good. I can do it again.
Mary? Mary?
That's pretty good. I think I would do it again.
The technology has caught up so that a lot of the home studio stuff and stuff you can work with right at your house the quality is high enough that you can bring it right in the studio and do stuff too. Be as creative as possible at home and just come in to kind of finish up stuff.
You just finished your first bass track. Now what are you going to do?
I want to do another.
But again, it's still about the action versus the reaction. What kind of a reaction is this? What kind of a reaction do you get when you hear these lyrics, when you hear this melody, when you hear this riff? This is kind of working backwards. When you hear this drum beat, it comes from the gut. This is what makes Overkill Records right. Pretty obvious what kind of music we're going to create, and it's going to be heavy music, somewhere between the Beatles and the Apocalypse, probably closer to the Apocalypse. It's just to what degree of heavy is infused within that music.
We know what we're looking for. We know how we want the sound. We know how we want the tempos to be. Me and Bobby have been doing it for a while now, and we're pretty sure about what we want. So I'm enjoying this now, a lot more than we used to.
Yeah, it's like a video. Keep going.
What's that?
We'll do a Pearl Jam video.
The inspiration for lyrics or for finishing an Overkill song can come from, a whole bunch of different places. I've always used, the personal side of things, what goes on inside my head, as my motivation. I've come to grips with the fact that sometimes I'm just not well. I sort of live on the sick and the twisted side of things. This is the way I see things. This is the way I perceive it. But I don't really always use it negatively. I use it to kind of vent negativity. The way I perceive things and the way I put it into songs are things that exist for me and things that are real for me.
My heart is in what I'm writing. You know, a lot of times too, when you listen to a past record, things aggravate you. A song didn't come out as good, or a part didn't come out as good, or you just missed the mark on a song. A lot of times you can take that kind of just missing the mark, and that frustration will get you going down a new path where you can maybe expand on an idea that maybe didn't pan out the record before. You just try to improve it a little bit more.
I think one of the really cool things about it is that a lot of people who do identify with this band from any type of a lyrical perspective have a lot in common with that. I think that they like to vent, that they understand maybe this little bit of a sick and twisted side, or at least are amused by it, or at least attracted to this side of things. But I do actually think that in retrospect, when I look at it and I look at the identifiability that it has to certain people, that it really is more of a positive thing than it is really a negative.
Overkill's managers right now is me and Blitz. Me and Blitz Productions.
When it comes to presentation and it comes to Overkill, we like to be presented the way we see ourselves. I can attribute some of this longevity to our presentation, or to the way we present ourselves. And this is something that we've held near and dear to our hearts right from the beginning. It was the value, it was the standard we had, the ideal back at the beginning was to give it all. It was our idea. It wasn't somebody else's to now form or mold. We have our fingers in the mix of everything, and it's real important to us. But I think that we can really be thankful that this has been our attitude or our approach to this business, because I think it's helped us to remain really honest and really true to what we like doing, not what somebody else thinks that we should be doing.
We have a different kind of situation than a lot of major label things, whereas we're on a label CMC now, and it was different when things first started off on Atlantic. A lot of our bills were paid through the label, and they would pay studio bills, and they would take care of things like that. Now, it's pretty much we have a corporation, we have a company, money comes from the labels and the different people that we license product out to. That comes into me and Bobby, and me and Bobby distribute that as we see fit.
Well, what we end up doing is taking a lot of the money up front, and we use that money to keep the machine running. The machine is paying the guys, keeping the studio going, getting ready for a tour. So it's important to have the capital to float the business.
We said as long as it's our money anyway, just give it all to us and we'll spend it the way we think we should instead of you paying for our things. There was a lot of waste, a lot of stuff, even in the early years before we really got our business thing set up. Overkill was a fortune pissed away. Lots of money down the tubes on a lot of stupid things, but that's how you learn. Now we're down to the dime. You see too many stories. These guys worked, sold millions of records, all this, and they got no money left. It's like, I'm not in it just for the money, but gotta have a few bucks. Gotta live.
Well, making dough is nice, you know. Making a little bit of cash is a good thing. It's nice to get paid for what you're doing. And of course, we are making money off of what we're doing. I don't think we'd be here for this amount of time because we wouldn't be able to live. And we do live off of Overkill. We're not getting rich off of it, but we are making a living off of it. But I really think that the most important thing is still the music to us. It's not about the amount of money.
You have to be able to do it, and you have to have some knowledge of it, but that's like the shit work of the band, is all of that crap, 1099s and paying bills and all that horse shit. You know, I'd much rather be writing tunes, spending my time doing that, but as you get further and further into your career, it just takes more and more of your time has got to be dedicated to the business stuff.
Check this out.
blood money.
We've been pretty lucky with people as far as labels getting involved with our actual songs and what they think that we should do. We signed with Megaforce early on, and Johnny Z and those guys, they had a pretty good idea about the songs and letting the artist control what the song was supposed to be. We knew better than the label did.
I always consider us very lucky to have been born to Megaforce Records. They were coming up as we were coming up. They were relatively new, we were relatively new. I think one of the great things about Megaforce is that they actually wanted bands to develop at their own pace, as opposed to forcing them to develop at a business pace, where the record label needs to make money, the record label needs you to sell more records, the record label wants you to do this. We've really never had that. But I think that Megaforce really, what they did was kind of instill an ideal into us that record companies don't get involved. So when it came down to a record company wanting any type of involvement with us, when it came down to changing ideas, it's something we just wouldn't stand for.
Nobody really has ever asked us to go back and change a song. I think once on the Elimination video, there's one line where it says, "Fatal, you're shitting me," and they didn't want "shitting me" on there, so we had to go and do, I forget what we did. We screwed it up somehow, so it just went "shh me" for the video for MTV, because they wouldn't play it. And we've had to do edits before sometimes where a song is too long or something like that, but we haven't had people delving into our songwriting and screwing around with that. They wouldn't know the first thing about it, and we wouldn't listen anyway, probably, so.
We've been pretty lucky all the way through with record labels. We went from Megaforce to Atlantic, and we had some good support at Atlantic. It was a bigger monster for us, and I really don't think that we should have stayed on that label any longer than we did. But we had met Tom Lipsky, who runs CMC Records, earlier that year. I think it was at the Concrete Foundations thing, and he was saying, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and I have these people involved. And it was really, for us, one of the great things about Tom's approach to music and his selling points to us reminded us very much of that whole Megaforce vibe. Tom was a small label that wanted to grow. Tom signed bands he liked. Tom was a metalhead. Tom liked 70s rock. Tom liked the arena rock acts. I mean, Tom liked Motorhead, and Tom liked Skinner. Tom has both. So CMC was a much more comfortable place for us to be. It looked like we would be able to obtain more longevity with CMC because, again, Atlantic Records was too big for us.
The major labels, the super duper labels, Warner Brothers, Atlantic, those type of labels, they have their place. When the band was originally first started out, they had no idea what to do with this kind of music. It was a new kind of thing. They didn't understand about heavy stuff, how to sell it, how to market it. It was so grassroots, but it was selling enough units that major labels got interested, but they had the slightest idea what to do with it. But major labels still have a place for, if you're a superstar product, if you're a big-time band, or if you start to get to that level, you need the major label machine. You need that giant machine, the publicity department behind it, the radio department behind it, just a ton of people working for you to sell a ton of records. But if you're more like the kind of band where we are, that you're kind of in the middle somewhere, where you have your fan base and you want to deliver to those people, you can get lost in the shuffle a lot of times with a major label.
I remember once going up to the offices at Atlantic. I had an appointment with one of the guys in the A&R department or in the metal radio department, and I went to the receptionist desk, and they told me that the deliveries were around the back, or I had to go through another door. And I really thought that kind of summed the whole thing up, that when we were on this big label, it's quite obvious that it had nothing to do with a face or the name of the band, but it had to do with a number. That little one that's printed on the side of the record, that catalog number.
When metal, I guess when they talk about when metal left the mainstream, I was never into mainstream. So to me, what wound up going down the toilet was, Bullet Boys and Winger and Poison and all of that, which, as far as I was concerned, belonged in the toilet anyway. So when all that stuff, took a shit, it was fine with me. The problem is that what came in was a lot of the alternative stuff, which was just as much crap to me.
I think one of the things that's happened to metal over the last decade, or at least the last half a decade, is that metal's been forced back underground, abandoned by multimedia, abandoned by the big mags, abandoned by MTV, our favorite place to be. Yo, MTV Metal. But in any case, by forcing a genre underground, by not giving it multimedia support, I think that what you really get is pure music, and you get the people who want to play that pure music. I don't think it's as easy to play when you're not up there, when you're not part of the big picture. When you're doing it because you like to, I think it kind of separates the men from the boys.
For my little world of what I listened to and what Overkill did, it didn't really affect us really one way or another. We were in the underground then, and we still are. We sold the same amount of units then as we do now. Trends will come and go. The mainstream popularity of things may come and go, but where we are, it's really not going to affect us that much.
But I think that when you go underground, you get purity. And I think that metal has always been intended to be there. This is not for everybody. We always knew this right from the beginning. You know, I've always considered that the way I make a living is alienating myself from the masses, from pissing off the majority as opposed to endearing myself to. I endear myself more so to the minority or to a certain section of that minority. So the underground is where we should be. I think that, you know, one of the best things that happened to us was MTV dropping out of the picture, because it gave us the opportunity to take more stock in ourselves, to let kind of the cream rise to the top, and not be involved with somebody who's trying to sell bubblegum, Levi's, and Buicks and baggy pants, and you know, I've never really given a rat's ass about such things.
You know, somebody's been trying to tell me for the last couple of years that metal's dead. How come nobody told you, motherfuckers? Because we never give a shit what they said anyway, did we? Once a cocksucker, always a fucking cocksucker. You ain't going nowhere. This is the whip and tear.
I'm happy to see that at least some of the grunge stuff is gone, and at least people are making an attempt now to have some kind of visual show again for the kids. I mean, for a while there it was, you know, just a bunch of stoners in, you know, a flannel shirt. Just it's like, you know, I like to see at least bands out there being creative, being visual for the kids to see, you know, something that really gets them excited, even if I don't love the music. I love this one, but there's a lot of bands out there to say, you know, I play music like this, but I don't really listen to it. When I'm home, I listen to a lot of jazz, and I listen to a lot of classical, and whatever this horse shit is about. I mean, I listen to metal all the time, night and day. That is all it's on, unless it's sports radio in the afternoon. But that's all I'm listening to. It's not like, oh, I'm in kind of a mellow mood, so maybe I'll listen to some Tom Petty, or get the fuck out of here. Mellow mood is Aerosmith, okay? And then for other, you put Rob Zombie on for something else. I love these bands. They're all over the place, these bands that, you know, I'm in that all the time, so when I come home, I don't want to listen to it. I don't get it. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I love the two, you know, they've outgrown it. Yeah. Fucking break. How do you outgrow? How do you or how about people who used to like it and don't anymore? How do you just? How can you just change? I used to love it, now I don't. I just don't get it. I try. It's like people say, listen to this. It's really good. I'll listen to it. I try and keep an open mind. I listen to it and you say, you know, it's shit. Sorry, I'm not getting it.
You gotta junkie, fast junkie!
To a lie.
strip my bank. My rubber nuts steal my tank. I can kill. I can kill. Yeah, kill. Do a live, let it go. No time for thinking. I'm full of fast donkey. Push in the ring. Hey, full of speed monkey.
I've always been quite allergic to this whole rock star labeling. It's something that has always made me uncomfortable, makes me uncomfortable to this day, really kind of makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up because it makes me feel that I'm perceived as one of them as opposed to one of us, and I'd really rather be one of us.
I guess it probably has a bad connotation, I guess, that goes along with it. If somebody asks you what you are, you don't say you're a rock star. I mean, I'm a musician, you know, I'm a guy in a band. Plus, there's connotations that go with the rock star thing, like, you know, that the guy's got to have his wine a certain way, and this a certain way, and the pampered superstar kind of thing. And we're much more so, you know, as long as the amps work and we have a few beers and the crew is all working, you know, we're good to go. You know, who's a rock star? Like, Rod Stewart is a rock star, you know, or Steven Tyler, something like that. We're not. We're blue-collar guys.
Well, we're feeling good. Feel a little closer to our creator. Feeling a little godlike.
You know, partying and me have seen a lot of miles together.
Work it. Do you feel it?
I feel it.
Feel it? Yeah. All right, that's the way.
When it first came to the band and partying, it was a big motivation for me based on free beer, love to party, love to drink, love to do it. My experience with partying and alcohol was something that almost burnt me out. It almost burnt me out for good. You know, I made the turn, let's say 5.5, 6 years ago, before it did burn me out. So almost is also a hell of a motivator to make changes with. And I looked at it this way. I've always looked at it as I had my fill. I got to have my times. I got to do it here and do it there, and use it as a motivation or use it as something that made the road more pleasurable. Something to look forward to, and now I use other things to do that. So probably the best thing about Overkill and me not partying is that now there has been 4 records out already. So I found that it was really much more about the band than about the party. And I think that it's only helped me to reinforce the ideals I did have when it came to music in the earlier days, and only helped those ideals to grow. I'm not one of these anti-alcohol guys. I don't like to be confused with them. I don't really preach anti-alcohol. I really preach individual choice. I think it's necessary for people to make their own mind up on what they do. Just not for me. And sometimes that's the most important choice. I have to worry about myself when it comes to certain things.
It's glamorized, obviously. You know, kids come out and they see you on the tour bus and you're going from town to town, and not that I'm complaining. I mean, I love doing it. I love being on the road, but it'll beat you up. Especially with us, there's no days off. When you're at the level that we are, the kind of band that we are, we like playing, we like working. On days off, chances are that you wind up, going to a titty bar, getting drunk, spending too much money, feeling like shit the next day. So we would rather just keep working. So a lot of times we'll work 7 days a week. It'll beat up on you being out there for a while. And being in the studio too is another thing where it's not, it's a high stress level, it's what we want to do. We love doing it. Again, no complaining. That's how it is. But it'll burn people out, and it's not for everybody. Being in a band and the rigors of being in a band is definitely not for everybody. I've seen it so many times before. Somebody's got an idea in his head of what being in a band is, and you get in there, and the music business in general will just beat you down. You have to be a certain kind of person. You have to be able to take a bat in the teeth day after day. Be able to take a bat in the teeth from people you thought were your friends and pick yourself up off the mat the next day and get right back out there again and do it again. And when it happens again, you got to be able to do it again. And a lot of people can't do it. You have to be a certain kind of person. It's not just about playing music and having fun. Although that's a lot of it too, so.
Am I happy with the way things have turned out? Well, I don't know if they've actually turned out yet. I think that the idea behind the band, the idea behind our ideals is a day-to-day standard, a day-to-day approach to things. I think if I put into tomorrow what I put into yesterday and today, and I take that with me into the near future, that continuation is probably the most evident thing for me. This is what this attitude has taught me. So I suppose things haven't turned out yet. So I don't think I can really give an answer because it's still going on. Maybe we do this answer the next time we do the end of Overkill.
The secret to Overkill's longevity, geez, I have no idea. I really don't.
Sticking to the guns, not really changing with the times. Just sticking to the Overkill sound.
There's probably a handful of reasons. I mean, we're kids at heart. We love this kind of music, and it probably shows.
We're fans of this music, quite obviously. We've been doing it for a long, long period of time. And I think with us, we've always wanted to be part of us, part of that whole group. Not just the band itself, but say band and audience, or band and genre, band and the people who listen to this. So I look at this as not really a separation of us and the audience, but us and the audience much more at an equal level.
If that comes across to the kids, it probably is what keeps bands around for a long time. If you listen to bands that have been around for a long time, like Motorhead or the Ramones or AC/DC or a lot of those kinds of bands, I'd love to be thought of in that league, but I'm just using them as an example. They are totally honest about what they're doing. You can just tell that they love the music that they're playing, and they love what they're doing, and I think that comes across to the kids. And if you can do that, you can just keep making records. That's probably part of it.
I think that by not changing with the times, so to speak, and making everything kind of riding the coattails of the next fad, they just kind of do what feels natural.
Not selling out, I should say. That's the big word nowadays, I guess. Just playing Overkill music.
I think a big to-do about our longevity, or why we've been here this long, is because we put as much as we can into the moment. It's not about making long-term plans for us. It's really about squeezing every drop we can out of where we are and what we're doing at that particular time. So I think it's a lot more about the present.
The other part is that I think when you come to an Overkill show, you're not going to get shortchanged. We're not just going to show up with no backline and just kind of roll in, wake us up when it's time for the show. We put thought into the show. We'll come out there with a lot of energy, still try and make it exciting and fun to come to an Overkill show. Some of these guys, Jesus Christ, are so fucking heavy about, let's think about this and let's all join together against racism and let's think about the forests and, those are all worthy causes, but don't bring them out to a fucking rock and roll show, all right? Come to the show, have a few beers, try and get laid, get in the pit. That's what Overkill's been about for about the last 17 years. And if you just keep that at a show, people will come to have fun and just let loose. Forget about all the crap that happens to you during the day. Come to a show and have fun. So if we can keep doing that, we'll probably be around another 15.
It's always been very important to us, Overkill. Always been up there in the top 3, maybe family, friends, Overkill. Maybe sometimes families, then Overkill. Maybe sometimes Overkill.
If you would have told me 15, 20 years ago that I'd still be playing metal music and making a living and being able to do everything basically on our own terms, tour when we want, come into the studio when we want, be able to be creative, have to make t-shirts, write songs for a living? Are you kidding me? That's all I could ever ask for. I'll be doing this. As long as someone will keep paying me to be creative and to do this kind of stuff, I'll keep doing it.
I think that we count our success in days as opposed to dollars. Because I think we're very honest about what we do because we love what we do. And if you find something that you love, you protect it. And if you find something you love that happens to be the work you do, you're really not even working. It's not like you're working a day in your life. So I would assume, or I would like to think that if we do what we've always done, we'll get what we always have gotten in the past, and that's a great degree of satisfaction.
Go!
When it comes to touring in Overkill, we are always considered this our best visibility.
Testing. Fuck you. Fuck you.
There is nothing like seeing a band as opposed to hearing it. If it happens on stage, it's usually the most memorable part of no band. Oh, fuck. What do you do up there in New Jersey? I'm a taxidermist. It's a taxidermist. I mount dead animals. It's okay, boys. He's one of us.
Jokes are written.